We'll do another quick one. Probably by request. No, it's not by request. I'm sorry. But no, I actually did want to talk about season 1 through 3 real quick, because I actually been like kind of thinking about doing that idea for coming back to the show. And I think the last thing I did was I talked about the video game awards, and I kind of just ranted on that. And I know a lot of people kind of gave me their opinions, and that kind of was the point of it. And that's kind of the point of the show, is to actually sit down and do a video and see how many people can actually talk about it with me. Because I don't really have a big biased opinion when it comes to politics. Don't even bring it in, which is kind of shocking with this show, because it does have a little political thing to it. But I won't watch like House of Cards, because House of Cards is, you know, Democratic or Republican kind of stuff. That stuff I stay out of. It's the same shit I always say. It's just not a fair fight. However, I keep sitting in the squeaky chair, my bad. However, the reason why I got into Game of Thrones is I had finished up, last semester I was finishing up Breaking Bad. I was following that show since the second season. I lost cable, and then once it came on Netflix, I decided to finally sit down and like blow through it all. And I did not regret that at all. It was very slow, I will admit. But the real selling factor is, you know, Bryan Cranston being Walter White, and then Aaron Paul being Jesse Pinkman, which I thought that really did help, and that kind of helped me get to the very end of that. So once it ended, my girlfriend wanted to have one of those shows where you would sit down and watch it with your spouse or someone, and then actually have someone to talk to, or even have a show where you talk to with everyone else. So during season 2, there was a couple people out there that told me I should probably watch this stuff because it's kind of an interesting thing. I am a huge fan of what was it? Lord of the Rings. I don't actually have, you know, the physical copy of the movies. I've seen them on TV, or if I've seen them on like Showtimes or something. Like I've watched them. Like I've watched the first Lord of the Rings about 35 times. Watched the second one about 47, I think, and then the third one I watched about 14 times because I don't really enjoy Return of the King. Probably one of the millions of people, even with the 5 included endings, not one of those big people of it. But a lot of people suggested to me to watch Game of Thrones, so I decided to, and overall, it's a very interesting show. And I know there's so many people out there that keep saying, you know, this is overrated, this is, you know, there's these books, you should read the books. With my book library, I basically, I'm still trying to finish up books. The biggest book I've tried to finish right now was Catching Fire, and I barely got through that, just for the movie. I'm trying to read Days of Future Past by, the X-Men comics. They kind of condensed that down into a comic book, or graphic novel, I mean. I just did a whole Army of Darkness comic book series. I got through that, which those things I kind of wanted to actually talk about with other people. But again, what do you guys want? TV shows? You guys want movies? You want comics? Just tell me. Post the comics below, and I will actually get that working out. Of course, I didn't do the shotgun microphone or production mic. I'm just in the onboard. My bad. But let's move on to season 1 and my thoughts of season 1 of Game of Thrones. This starts off, you follow the Stark family, of course, and Baratheon stops by, who's a good friend of Ned Stark. I forget the first name in the Baratheon. Again, with the season 4 episode 1 review, I warned everybody about names. No one's joking, there are so many names in this show, it's hard to keep track of everybody. There's literally, Honest Trailer Reviews did a segment where I have no idea these names. But I try my best for you guys. So, Baratheon invites him to King's Landing. So while they're in King's Landing, they discover so much other stuff. and I don't even want to say it, but you know, definitely, if you've caught on by now by the title, it is going to be a spoiler. So Ned actually discovers that Joffrey, which is the next king to the throne, or whatever, or how you say it, next heir, is a bastard. And of course, with bastards, they're not actually allowed to have the throne. They're not royal blood, they're kind of shitty blood. So he ends up dying for that, and this kind of sets it up for the next 2 seasons. This was the season that kind of just catapults it into this whole like storm of crap. You do meet the kids. Of course, one of the kids, Brian. Like I don't really know how to pronounce his name. Brian becomes a cripple because of the fact that Jaime Lannister and his sister actually fucked, and he caught them fucking, which is the bastard son, being the bastard son of Joffrey. If that makes sense, because I believe those two fucked had Joffrey. Yeah, I think that was right. Then we also have the Targaryen start point where her and her brother we're trying to get the Iron Throne, which is in King's Landing, which is what in the picture Sean Bean's sitting on. Of course, what happens is, you know, the brother's basically selling his sister to Drago, or again, horrible names, sorry, just to get the armies, just so he can get the Iron Throne, because he wants to be king. But it turns out that Khaleesi is going to be queen, and she's getting more popular, and which they kill her brother off. But then towards the end of the season, Drago ends up dying, and she's actually pregnant too. The baby's going to be the king of the throne after Drago, or even it's going to be king. Okay. Nevertheless, no, sorry, my DS was acting up. Nevertheless, what happens is she's now the mother of dragons. At the end of the show, when they burn Drago's body, because she was given on their wedding night 3 eggs, and she did something with the eggs, and it caught on fire, shot on fire, and of course became mother of dragons because they were burning his body. Try my best here. I haven't seen this in about 2 months. I think it's about 2 months. So then of course we have the plot about Robb, which starts here as well and ends here. Robb also is trying to go to war with Lannisters over the fact that the 2 sisters are trapped down in King's Landing, because like 2 brothers stayed back. Snow, which I haven't got to yet, is at the wall. Robb went somewhere with the mom. Well, actually, no, the mom tried to get to the fact that the Lannisters had attacked their son, who got crippled, and they've discovered the fact that maybe the Lannisters are up to no good. But nevertheless, Robb was supposed to marry, I forget the guy's name, but I call him Finch, because he's the guy from Harry Potter. He was trying to marry one of his daughters if he could help him, which, you know, everybody knows. That's kind of where the plot goes with that one, is Robb trying to fight the Lannisters. Alright, Tyrion Lannister. Not much, he didn't get popular in this season. He gets popular in actually the next season, I would feel. He kind of just starts off being like the Tony Stark of the show. Just sleeps with women and drinks. Nothing really big, because he's a gimp of Tywin Lannister, and he kind of feels like the bastard. Well, he is a bastard, but he does feel like the bastard son. He doesn't feel like he's good enough for Tywin. But in which way, like the big climactic moment is Ned Stark dying, because it kind of sets up for the next 2 seasons. And also there are little things that end up in this season and then further down the road. But the 2 girls, Salsa and I'm gonna keep saying her name wrong, whatever, and Arya, both stuck in King's Landing, and then once Starks get attacked in Landing, pretty much everybody gets killed. What ends up happening is Sansa's pretty much a prisoner against her will to marry Joffrey, which then again Yeah, I did both that time because it changes. But nevertheless, she's kind of trapped there and can't find her way out. And there's kind of hint to that in later, like she might be able to get out, but we kind of don't know at the moment on the show. Arya goes from this just a girl who wants to, I guess a Disney princess, just a girl who wants to be more, but she kind of does see her father's head get cut off, loses her sister and her family. Well, at the moment, pretty much her sister and her family from King's Landing. Her mom somewhere else. Kind of gets stuck somewhere, like stuck in a hard place. But nevertheless, what ends up happening is season 1 going into season 2, for Arya at least, she ends up getting captured, and she finds out that one of the Baratheon sons, bastard sons, which are also heirs to the throne apparently, get killed, and one of them is with her. That's actually a big plot point because they want to annihilate everyone who has the ability to get to the throne. The Baratheon's brother, I forget his name, but he's after the throne from somewhere else, but he has this random woman with a red dress. Sorry, I'm like way out of it. Red dress. And the thing is he wants the throne really badly. He feels like it's his right to have the throne. And he's trying to use the red dressed woman to get it as well. And the first thing he gets is a demon baby that stabs. Trying to remember that kingdom's name. It was like so brief because what happens is the king gets stabbed by the black demon, and the Stark mother, Mrs. Stark, is actually blamed for the death. So they actually send this one amazing warrior to take the Lannister that they have captured from one of Robb's battles and take him back to see if he can use him as a tool to get the girls back from King's Landing. That was kind of the whole point of him, and then also him and the knight. I'm gonna call her a knight because I can't, again, names. Trying to get to King's Landing in the scene 3, which ends up happening, and then more things from that. What else is going on? Targaryen basically goes like pretty much just going through the desert, and everyone's like having a rough time, and she's trying to believe that she can survive it. She does survive it by finding a city that at first won't take her in, but someone actually vouches for her. She goes, and they actually steal her dragons, as everyone assumes, because I believe her one man was like, if we go there, they'll kill us. If they go there, they'll kill us and take all of our stuff. It's kind of like we're in a rock and a hard place. So she goes there, and she gets, the one black guy to actually get him into the city. They try to steal her dragons. She gets her dragons back from some wizards or sorcerers, or how do you ever look at it? But they kind of manipulate her into this weird, sick fantasy stuff about her husband and the son she was supposed to have, which she ends up miscarrying due to what ends up happening in season 1. Which I'll try to be brief as possible, but hitting like the key notes is kind of my concern. But nevertheless, trying to think what else happens to Sansa in this season. Nothing big, but she's kind of like afraid of her life living with Joffrey. Like Joffrey even makes her watch or look at her father's head after it's been cut off from season 1. But she's kind of like, as I said, she's kind of stuck in her place. Arya follows the one group who's headed somewhere. They're kind of prisoners. But then she gets out of that. I think season 3 we'll talk about that. Robb, I barely remember Robb being that, besides him meeting his wife. I think he meets his wife here, marries her, and then season 3 we don't know what happens. What else happens? Snow. Oh, I can't believe we forgot Snow. Shit. Snow, bastard son of Ned Stark, goes to the Wall. Again, he's a bastard. He kind of meets Sam there. Sam actually plays more of a bigger role in this season and season 3. Sam's kind of like the guy who's like just fat and chubby that nobody likes, and kind of Snow stands up for him. Sorry about that. But moving on. So Snow's kind of protecting the Wall, and then in season 2 he kind of, what does he do? God, I can't remember much of what he did in season 2. Because I know in season 3 they leave the Wall. He ends up getting captured, and he ends up, yeah, there we go. He ends up leaving the Wall. They meet the one wildling girl, and then he ends up kind of just going to their campsite, and then Sam ends up meeting the White Walkers out there. And of course, winter is coming, so these White Walkers, which are technically zombies, gonna go over the Wall and destroy the Seven Kingdoms, which is kind of like the big threat, apparently, which nobody cares about, which no one will probably care about because everybody's ignorant. Alright, and then who else did I forget? Rob and the mom are together. Okay, the girls. Yep. Every big point I could think of, because season 2 I went through it quickly, and then I got this one for actually cheap. Season 3 was a lot cheaper because of the fact that when I bought all 3 from Best Buy, and when I bought it from Best Buy, they gave me a coupon when I bought season 2 for 15% off this one, which dropped it down to about 20 bucks. That's about half for how much I would pay for it, because I paid $40. This was on sale one day for $35, 15% off. That went basically down to 20. But with this one is when the show gets really good, in my opinion. Like season 1, the ending to it when Ned dies, it kind of builds up to that, and I felt it was really good. But I didn't watch it for another 2 weeks. Kind of sat back and was like, do I really need to catch up on it? And then we had, with season 2, I'm like, this is not a bad season. Maybe I'll just go out real quick and buy season 3. And actually, I didn't go out and buy season 3. I got halfway through 2 and decided to just pay online. But any which way, with season 3, we have the Rob storyline. I think I'll save the Rob storyline for last, but Arya's storyline, she ends up getting stuck with the one protector group that believes in light. And what happens is the one bastard, Baratheon bastard, wants to stay there, but ends up getting captured by the Red Queen, red dress woman, taken back to the other Baratheon, the one that is alive, and is tortured. I would say tortured. Oh my god, that one douchebag. That was the big point about him in this one. Oh my god. That one douchebag that was supposed to be a Stark, but ends up coming back under his father's flag, which I forget that. See, everybody knows what I'm talking about. It's the one guy that goes and gets tortured. He burns Winterfell, which the 2 sons leave Winterfell. They're headed to the Wall. Brian and his brother, everybody forgets about. With Hodor and everyone else, I keep forgetting that plot. It's so small, and not that many people kind of pay attention to that. However, with him, he burns down Winterfell, gets captured, and it's tortured in season 3, and he gets his dick cut off. Not a big plot point. My favorite one was when they took him out of the chamber, walked him around, and then put him back in the chamber. That was my favorite part. That was about it for that. Everything else about it, I didn't care about this character, and I wish he would die. He's not gonna die for a while. But with season 3, of course, the Baratheon wanted to go get King's Landing. He failed. Tywin came in and saved everybody at King's Landing. I didn't think it was that big of a plot point. big climactic battle, sure, but didn't think it was that big of a plot point for me to remember from season 2. Season 2 was kind of just not my favorite one so far. But season 3, Baratheon's kind of just licking his wounds. He wants to go again towards the end of the season, but finds out that the zombies, or White Walkers, are actually going to be coming, and he's kind of brooding now, because he's like, I want the 7 kingdoms, but now I can't do it. So far in season 4, we haven't seen anything of him whatsoever. Robb Stark, can't do Robb Stark. Arya gets captured by the Hound too, which you'll get to see a lot more of that in season 4. But Arya kind of still wants to kill everybody for what had happened in season 1 with her family and Ned. Does she succeed? No, she hasn't actually fully succeeded at killing anyone until probably season 4. So in this season, she actually does marry somebody. She marries Tywin, not Tywin, the Gimp. Oh man, see, the names are getting mixed up. She actually ends up marrying the Gimp, because the one king who got murdered by the Black Demon in this season ends up marrying Joffrey in season 4. It's so weird. So much shit going on. But what ends up happening was Joffrey's mother does not like the new wife, or the new queen that Joffrey's marrying. What else is happening? Tywin doesn't give a shit about the one kid, the Gimp. Oh my god, Peter Dinklage. What else is going on? Everything that happens in King's Landing in season 3, I really did not give a shit about. It didn't catch my attention. It was all about the wedding and how just season 3. I can't really remember that much of it for that, besides the climactic ending of the Red Wedding, which, of course, let's go back to Robb. Robb's trying to fight the Lannisters. He kills his right-hand man, which basically hurts him, like cripples him, basically. His army's not going to be powerful enough to fight them. So he ends up deciding to go back to Bitch, which, at this time, he's already married to his new wife. And he kind of was like, oh, hey, take my uncle. My uncle and one of your daughters can marry. Ching-ching. And they have the wedding, and they have the reception. And the look that Miss Stark had on her face was priceless. Just the mere fact of, oh, fuck. They all die. Quits the Red Wedding. And pretty much stops the Stark bloodline. Up until, if you think, the children. I still think Brian has control of the throne right now. Technically, Snow is... Look like Snow's taking it over right now, but... I don't know. All in all, that's pretty much my opinion on Game of Thrones summed up in like the briefest way possible. And I know that's horrible, but when you come to think of it, I'm not getting paid millions of dollars to sit here and explain to you each thing, and I would advise you to watch the show. It's not bad. Would I say it's better than better than Breaking Bad? Nope. You can't do that. I don't think that's a fair fight, because you could probably compare The Wire to Breaking Bad, and it would still be kind of a hard decision in my opinion. But nevertheless, if you stayed for like the 23 minutes or 25 minutes of doing this, thank you. If you want to see anything else, movies, television, something like, if you want me to focus more on movies, television, or games, just tell me and I'll do that. Because I usually do write reviews on my Twitter or my Tumblr. But nevertheless, thank you guys for tuning in. And I'm sorry about this whole production for the last 2 episodes like this in season 4. Kind of just working on some stuff. I'm still in college, so I'll probably do a quick update video for you guys so you know what's going on.